This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Aurora Herrera. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing really well. I'm in Trinidad and I'm so happy to be in my home country. So I'm feeling very blessed and I'm very happy.
Love it. That makes two of us, right? You know, I was talking to somebody right before and he's in New York and he was talking about how cold it is. And I was God. Sorry, you know, I feel your pain. He said, nah, you're good. So you don't know about the warmth we're feeling right now, you know?
Exactly.
It's just so amazing. Well, do tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
Well, I'm a journalist. I've been doing all things media since I was about 14 years old when I started in journalism. I had a column for the Trinidad Guardian, and then I went on to work for Gael when I was about 17. And I had the privilege of producing and hosting 2 TV shows on Gael. And then I went on to do my specialist in journalism at the University of Toronto. And then I did an internship with CBC, and then I worked a lot in terms of PR. I worked as a journalist. I worked as a documentary filmmaker, and I've done kind of every single rung of the communication industry. So yeah, I think that's why we meet.
That's amazing. Wow. So let's do stamina, because everything you talk about is going to take, or let's not even say stamina, let's say endurance. Who did you learn that from?
My mom. My mom is probably the most important person in my life. Not probably, she is, but also not just because she's my mom, but because she raised me to be someone with endurance and stamina, because she is herself. She's actually a national hummingbird holder of Trinidad and Tobago for her work in conservation. And so she's a conservationist. And she was also a columnist for the same newspaper that I grew up writing for.
Say her name.
Herrera. Herrera, yes. And we both wrote for Trinidad Guardian. And she actually is the one who, she did a hike. So she's done hikes across the Northern Range from Chaguanas to Matlot and then around the island as well to highlight conservation. And then she would make documentaries. And so she would get me into documentary filmmaking. And I first saw her doing these things. And she's just been a pioneer. She's the only woman to be doing what she's doing. I think she's the only person in Trinidad and Tobago to do what she's done. So, you know, I learned from the best. I learned from her. So I was always raised with this sense of stamina.
Why will you continue to repeat this skill? One of the challenges with endurance is sacrifice. Why will you continue nevertheless?
I think that sacrifice and endurance and all the lessons that we learn in life, like responsibility and just trying and a sense of duty, they all come from this wellspring of, you know, innate need to see people do well and innate desire for people to, you know, see their country do better and move their country forward. So I think given that, especially in this generation, we are responsible for carrying the country on our backs right now. And we need to pass that on as well. So that's why I'll continue to repeat this skill, not only to build a country while I'm able to, but also for future generations to see that as well.
Now, where's the best place for someone that's listening to you to connect?
They can find me on Twitter. It's at Aurora K. Herrera, or they can find me on LinkedIn. Just look me up, Aurora Herrera, as well. I'm not so much on Facebook and Instagram, but it's all Aurora K. Herrera on any single platform. If you search me, you'll find me. All of my handles are open and public.
All right. Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
I've created my own opportunities for a very long time, not just over 3 years, but I think that instead of waiting for something to be given to me, I always tend to create what I want. So if I see that there's a goal or something that I want, I'm consistently trying to just make opportunities for myself to get there.
I'm feeling so proud right now. Amazing audience. I love it. How does it make you feel?
It's nerve-wracking because it's a lot of risk, I think, but I think it's a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. It's nerve-wracking, but it also makes me feel like a bit of a pioneer, and it makes me feel really good when those risks that I take and those opportunities that I strive to create come to fruition. So, like, for instance, right now I'm doing a consultation for Guardian Media Limited. And when I was doing my ethnography for my PhD in August in Trinidad, I pitched training and I said, hey, I really want to do this training for the GML newsroom. And I just created that opportunity for myself. And then, 6 months later, here I am in Trinidad actually doing consultation for the newsroom. So just things like that, saying that, seeing something that you want and that you want to do, going for it, and then, achieving it.
Suggest to someone that's listening why they should do or even consider doing what you've done by being that person who's applied endurance to your life goals.
Well, the best thing in life is that you learn from it. And I have to say, I've also gotten a lot of rejection, had a lot of, really down times and times where I thought things were going to work out. But I think even though through the tough times, that's when you learn who you really are and what kind of grit you have and what you will and won't do and what you will stand for. So then when you get to those times when it's quote unquote smooth sailing, then you have a really more grounded sense of self and you just really can enjoy the moment because you feel wholesome.
Amazing audience again, you're hearing it live from Aurora. Born and bred in Trinidad and Tobago. There we go. Aurora, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Aurora, What is your earliest childhood memory?
I have a few, but I think the one that I want to talk about is, as I said earlier, my mom is an environmentalist and conservationist. And I remember being maybe about 5 or 6 years old, and we went to hike up a repo. Now, my mom has been taking me on hikes since she was pregnant with me. So I've been in the forest since I was, in utero, basically. And I remember we were hiking up a repo, and there was a tree. We came and we were just standing under the tree. And then my mom pointed out to me that there was a snake wrapped around the bough of the tree. And I remember being just tiny and looking up and seeing the snake and being in awe. And everyone reacted really calmly. And, they just came and said, okay, you need to walk away from the tree. Just be very careful. But in that moment, it was just, it was the first time I ever saw a snake in real life. And just the way that it was so majestic and so beautiful. And then we had all the lush greenery around us and everyone was just so calm and so happy, and it just really made me feel connected to nature and really appreciate my family being in nature. So it was one of the best memories that I have as a child.
Oh, that's intriguing. How do you see that memory connecting even more to who you are today, if you had to look deeper?
Definitely. One is that I absolutely love the environment in Trinidad and Tobago. I do a lot of conservation projects with my mom and on my own. The environment is something I feel really strongly about, and I'm always trying to do conservation work as well. Actually, my mom and I, we had a TV show called Showcase Environment where we profiled different Caribbean islands, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, Guyana, and we emphasized the natural beauty of the landscape, and also we spoke to conservationists and stakeholders in the different countries for the environment. So we tried to bring that to the public, and it showed on Carib Vision, which shows in about 22 different territories and the US and Canada. So getting that message out about conservation is something that I'm very driven by.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Well, the other really big influence in my life, I have 2 older brothers who are absolutely amazing, and they influenced me in everything from playing sports to music. So they liked a band called Tool, and there was this song called Sober. I have a very vivid memory of the song coming on the radio, and they were, when we used to use tapes, like cassettes.
Yeah.
So they were taping the song from 95.1. And that was my favorite song just because it was their favorite song. But it is a great song. I still listen to it today. So
there we go. All right, Aurora. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
Aurora, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
No.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Maybe.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Less than 8. I just usually use it for a lot of news consumption.
All right. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Aurora Herrera, what would you say that is?
I never think that I can't.
Love it. All right, this was such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I just really want to thank you so much for having me. It's a real privilege, and I think that what you're doing is really amazing. So thank you so much for everything.
You're welcome. This has been a great pleasure. I am flying my red, black, and white flag even higher now. Aurora,
Yay.
Thank you for all that you do and for carrying our next generation into the future.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Later. Aurora Herrera, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.